Welcome students. Welcome you all for the success at CA exam organized by BoS ICAI. I am CA Dimple Goyal and along with me
CA Aparna Chauhan.
We both are your income tax faculty and today we are taking the paper 3 of intermediate section A income tax law, and this is for September 2024 examination and the same would be relevant for January 2025 examination as well. So, students, in the earlier session, after the series one of MTP, we had one success at CA exam, and at that session, what we have discussed few important points regarding the regarding the applicability, that which finance act will be applicable for September 2024 examination. So, as we have already mentioned in that session, your income tax provisions as amended by the Finance Act 2023, that would be relevant. More of you got confused whether the amendment which is brought by Finance Act 2024 that would be applicable for September or January exam. So the answer is no, that would not be applicable. That would be applicable from May 2025 onwards. So for September 24 and January 25, Finance Act 23 is relevant. So your assessment year is assessment year 24-25, and the cutoff date for the notification and circular, which is 6 months prior to the examination. So accordingly, for September 2024 examination, the significant notification and circular, which is issued up to 29 February 2024, that are relevant for you. And for January 2025 examination, notification and circular issued up to 30th June 2024 is relevant.
These are given by way of statutory update.
And it is already hosted for September and for January, already hosted on the website. So we just quickly brush up what we have already said you in the last session. So if any one of you has doubt, so we can take up that. Otherwise, we will go to the technical part of that.
Let's just recap or recapitulate all some of the provisions of the subject basically.
Yes. So what are the publications that are relevant for September examination? Your study material, June 2023 edition of the study material, that would be relevant for September and January examination. Your statutory update, which is already hosted on the website for September and for January 2025, and the RTP. The best part is, student, for September attempt, you can refer the RTP for May 2024 and there's a separate RTP for September 2024 examination. Similarly, for January, there will be a different RTP for January 2025 examination, but you can refer May 2024 RTP, September 2024 RTP, and January 2025 RTP, subject to if there is any notification and circular which is impacting the question. Regarding the section-wise weightage, what will be the section-wise weightage of your paper, that we have already discussed in the last session. Your paper pattern, your 30% paper is of MCQ based, which is majorly of case scenario MCQ. So accordingly, your paper is for 50 marks. So 15 marks is for MCQ portion and the remaining 35 marks for descriptive question. But the strategy for MCQ will be the same as it is for descriptive, because you don't need to give your explanation or reasoning, but the question or everything will be like on the same pattern. Because in the descriptive question, what happened, if you don't write anything or if your computation goes wrong, you will lose your step marks. But in the MCQ portion, either your MCQ answer will be correct or wrong, so there is no question of step marking there. But the best part, you don't need to give any explanation, you don't give any reasoning, and there is no negative marking also for the MCQs.
Yes. So you have to be very careful while opting or choosing the correct options, because in case if something gone wrong, then you are not going to get any mark, even though you are aware of the provisions, aware of the concept and all those things. So be extra careful by attempting the your case scenario based MCQs and all. In descriptive question, one thing is very important, that students do not substantiate their answers along with the provisions, because this is an income tax paper which is based on the provisions of the Income Tax Act. unless and until you are mentioning on what basis, what provisions you are answering question, you would not be fetched the marks. So it's very essential for you to substantiate whatever you are doing, the treatment, whatever you are analyzing the provisions, then you have to write it in your answer sheets, then only you will be able to get the marks. So it's very, very important for the students that their answer should include all the provisions along with in the answer sheets. Aniruddha Jadhav is asking in which subjects amendments are these for September 24 examination, especially tax laws paper. The amendments are more relevant, but for all the subjects now you should refer the BoS website. For other paper, in case there might be possibility for some auditing paper, some accounts paper, there must be some pronouncements and things. So please refer the BoS website for knowing the amendments for the subjects, other subjects also, but definitely for the law papers, specifically for the tax laws, indirect tax laws, direct tax laws, there are many, there are the certain amendments which are really, really very important for you. For that, we people, take out, bring you the statutory update. So you should go through that statutory update for the purpose of these tax papers. Basically, for other subjects, it is advisable to refer the website, and there are separate sessions for each subject. You can ask the respective faculties also relating to this amendments part.
So regarding the question paper, that MCQ ma'am has already discussed why it is so important, and the descriptive part you are need to substantiate your answer. Your 15 marks MCQ, that will be your compulsory. There will be no choice in that MCQ. And in the remaining, there will be 4 questions. Your first question will be the compulsory question, which is of 15 marks. And out of the 3 questions of 10 marks each, you have to attempt any 2. And there will be an internal choice also. So this is all the broad framework of your question paper pattern.
So all these things we have already discussed. What would be your approach for doing the affective study, self-study, on all these things that we have already explained.
Yes.
That with the help of in the study material, if you see, you will find out. Let us recapitulate. There are so many tables, diagrammatic presentation of the provisions are there. Certain illustrations, examples, test your knowledge questions are there. So you do all these things. But definitely for income tax paper, it is essential key. There is a step marks. The step wise proceeding is there, procedure is there. That first you have to know what are the 5 heads of income. And if you compute the 5 heads of income, the respective heads, then you will move to the clubbing provisions, then the set of provisions. Then when you compute your combining all these things, then you will come out to, for this gross total income. From that, deduction under chapter 6A will be available. Then you will calculate the total income. After that, you will calculate the tax liability of the assessee. So there is a specific procedure that you have to follow. For the students, even though we are providing so many things to you, we always suggest or advise to the student, make your own notes to understand, to have a good grasp of the provisions. So it's very necessary that you make your own notes. They will be easy for you also to revise the concepts day before the examination. One more important thing in this case is that while you're practicing the questions, do not read those questions. Write those questions in and solve by your own. When you done your computations, when you solve your questions, then compare your answers with the answers given in the publications, like in study material if you're doing that, in the RTP again, those things. So it's not, you should not read this, because reading, if you are doing the reading only, you will feel, yeah, you know the provision, it's very easy. But while you're solving, then you will come to know how to present your answers, and the tricky things where you can easily do the mistakes, those will be controlled if you do all these things. So this is the way you have to do your study and all these things. Some students have joined on the Zoom in also. It's a very good platform the BoS is providing to you. It's a good initiative by the institute BoS, that we have a direct interaction, two-way communication is provided to you. Then you please come and join the Zoom in. There you can ask the questions directly to us. And some of the students also join. In case you have any doubt relating to these things, your general things, then please ask. We are happy to answer your queries. In case if you have, otherwise we will move to the critical aspects of the subjects, right? In case Satya, Madhulika, many students are Natasha. Please join with your name. Somebody is joined with the Oppo and all. Please change your name. Many students are being joined. In case if you have any doubt, Pooja, Shraddha, Bhumi, anything relating to these aspects?
You can just unmute yourself and ask you a query. If you have any query related to the general part, regarding the technical part, we will go to the technical intricacies of the subject and what are the key points that you have to keep in mind before the examination, that we will will be dealing with. But regarding the general part, your strategy, what about your applicability of Finance Act, of how to prepare for this subject, if you have any of this kind of query, you can ask. We are just waiting for yeah, Pooja has unmute.
Yeah, Pooja.
गुड मॉर्निंग मैम।
गुड मॉर्निंग पूजा।
मैम मुझे ये जानकारी चाहिए थी कि जैसे क्वेश्चन पेपर के अंदर क्वेश्चन होते हैं, उसके अंदर जो सॉल्यूशन होता है उसमें हमें फुल लिखना जरूरी होता है। जैसे कि रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस का है तो जैसे कि कंप्यूट उसमें क्वेश्चन आता है कंप्यूट टोटल इनकम का, तो जो जैसे हमें मतलब मॉड्यूल के अंदर सॉल्यूशन दिए हुए हैं उसमें तो पूरी लाइन लिखी हुई है कि मतलब डीम्ड, पूरी लाइन लिख के उसने आंसर को लिखा हुआ है। क्या हम छोटा लिख के आंसर लिख सकते हैं उसमें?
Yes, Pooja, actually study material mein whatever is given, that is for your understanding, so that is why it is given so in the so elaborated manner. But in the examination, the main thing is that because it's a law based provision subject, so you have to mention the key points. Suppose in your residential status, the assessee is resident due to which of the condition, whether it's because of the 182 days basic condition, because of the 60 or 365 days condition, because of deemed resident. So you have to mention the condition, but you can write it in your own words. But the main key points regarding the number of days of stay, regarding whether he is an Indian citizen or not, these crucial words should be there in your answer. Otherwise, you can write it in your own language.
No, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये नहीं है। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि जैसे टोटल इनकम का क्वेश्चन आता है, रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस में भी आता है ना, स्कोप वाला जो पार्ट होता है, स्कोप ऑफ टोटल, तो उसके अंदर पूरा का पूरा मतलब पूरी स्टेटमेंट दी होती है क्वेश्चन के अंदर भी, जिससे टोटल इनकम कंप्यूट करना है। तो उसमें ये डीम्ड रेजिडेंट है और ये इंडिया के बाहर वर्क कर रहा था, मतलब पूरी लाइन लिखी होती है जब टोटल इनकम वो निकालते हैं। तो क्या वो हमें पूरा लिखना जरूरी है? वो पूछना चाह रही हूँ मैं।
डिपेंड्स एक्चुअली, अगर आपका स्कोप ऑफ टोटल इनकम का क्वेश्चन आया सपोज, ठीक है, अगर वो क्वेश्चन आ रहा है कि वो डीम टू एक्रू अराइज कब होगा, क्यों होगा, कैसे होगा वो अराइज, तो वो आपको मेंशन करना पड़ेगा कि एसएससी को इनकम कहाँ से अराइव हुई है, यहाँ पे उसका बेसिस था और वो नॉन रेजिडेंट पर्सन है, व्हाई इट इज टैक्सेबल इन इंडिया। तो वो रीजनिंग आपको लिखनी नहीं पड़ेगी, आपको लिखनी पड़ेगी, उसको अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते हो, है ना, समझ गए। अगर उसमें आपको सिर्फ स्कोप ऑफ टोटल इनकम, तो उसमें आपको क्वेश्चन में जरूर लिखा हो कि रेजिडेंट आपको कैसे कंप्यूट करना है, एज्यूमिंग दैट ही इज अ रेजिडेंट, ही इज एन आरएनओआर और ही इज अ नॉन रेजिडेंट। 3 कंडीशंस दे दिया, 2 कंडीशंस दे दी उसके लिए, आपको अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू डिटरमाइन हिज टोटल इनकम। टोटल इनकम कैसे निकलेगी, क्योंकि आपका जो टैक्सेबिलिटी है इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में, इट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन द रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑफ अ पर्सन, ठीक है। आपको पता है रेजिडेंट के हैंड में ग्लोबल इनकम टैक्सेबल होती है, बट नॉन रेजिडेंट के केस में ग्लोबल इनकम टैक्स नहीं कर सकते ना, उसके लिए आपको सेक्शन 9 देखना पड़ता है। सेक्शन 9 क्या बोलता है, वो डीम टू एक्रू और अराइज इन इंडिया करते हैं, इसलिए वो नॉन रेजिडेंट के हैंड में टैक्सेबल होती है। तो अब वो डीम्ड कब होगा, यू हैव टू मेंशन इट, वो लिखना पड़ेगा आपको,
मतलब टोटल लिखना पड़ेगा, पूरी स्टेटमेंट देनी पड़ेगी,
टू द पॉइंट लिखना पड़ेगा। टू द पॉइंट इन द सेंस, अगर रॉयल्टी का क्वेश्चन है, उसको रॉयल्टी राइज हुई, उसने कुछ यहाँ पे सर्विसेज रेंडर की है इंडिया में सपोज, ठीक है, और उसको रेजिडेंट पे कर रहा है रॉयल्टी, ठीक है। अब रेजिडेंट पे कर रहा है फॉर द बिजनेस यहाँ पे इंडिया के लिए, आउटसाइड बिजनेस के लिए नहीं, यहाँ पे अगर बिजनेस के लिए पे कर रहा है तो वो टैक्सेबल होगा। तो ये लाइन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट। तो दिस यू हैव टू मेंशन कि ये क्यों टैक्सेबल होगा, बिकॉज इट इज पेबल बाय अ रेजिडेंट फॉर द बिजनेस इन इंडिया, ये लिखना पड़ेगा इतना लाइन, ठीक है। तो टू द पॉइंट यू हैव टू स्पेसिफाई कि इसके बेसिस पे भाई मैंने इसको टैक्सेबल किया, तो इतना ये पॉइंट है मेरा, उतना
रीजनिंग आपको देनी पड़ेगी पूजा। टू द पॉइंट ही सही, बट आपको रीजनिंग देनी पड़ेगी फॉर ईच एंड एवरी।
पूरा डिटेल में मत लिखना, पूरा डिटेल नहीं, लेकिन क्या इंपॉर्टेंट बेसिस है जिसपे आपने अराइव किया, उसको टैक्सेबल कर दिया उसके हैंड्स पे, वो लिखना पड़ेगा उतना, टू दैट एक्सटेंट।
एक और क्वेश्चन था, जैसे कि ये टोटल इनकम का हमारा क्वेश्चन आता है, उसके अंदर हम जैसे सैलरी इनकम या जो पांचों हेड्स होते हैं हमारे, उसकी इनकम को हम जैसे टोटल इनकम की इनकम में हम सैलरी, इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी, कैपिटल गेन और अदर सोर्सेज, मतलब ये पांचों ऐड करके, और ये जो सैलरी है या इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी है, इनको हम वर्किंग नोट में दिखा सकते हैं। जैसे सैलरी इनकम है उसको वर्किंग नोट में पूरा सैलरी का दिखा के, और फिर हम उसको मेन उसमें आंसर में,
देयर इज नो हार्म इन इट,
बट आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपको कितना स्पेस
Space
छोड़ना
छोड़ना
है,
है, हाँ।
उसके बाद आपको सैलरी का वर्किंग नोट करना है, क्योंकि आपको वहां तक टोटल इनकम भी निकालनी है, उसके बाद आपको लेस डिडक्शंस भी करनी है। आपने एक फॉर्मेट बना लिया कि मेरी इनकम फ्रॉम सैलरी है, रेफर वर्किंग नोट 1, इनकम फ्रॉम हाउस प्रॉपर्टी, रेफर वर्किंग नोट 2, तो आपने एक फॉर्मेट बना के देन यू स्टार्ट योर वर्किंग नोट्स। ऐसे यू कैन डू, आप कर सकते हो, उसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
बस आपको स्पेसिंग का ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा। सपोज आपने कोई एक एडजस्टमेंट सैलरी की है तो आपने सैलरी का वर्किंग नोट बना दिया, फिर पीजीपी कोई एडजस्टमेंट आई तो आपने सैलरी के बाद पीजीपी का नोट बना दिया। तो आपको सैलरी के लिए, क्योंकि ऑब्वियसली जैसे जैसे एडजस्टमेंट आएगी यू हैव टू लीव द स्पेस अकॉर्डिंगली, कि आपको ऊपर कंप्यूटेशन करने के लिए, टैक्स लायबिलिटी करने के लिए कितना स्पेस छोड़ना है। देन यू कैन स्टार्ट योर वर्किंग नोट की सैलरी का वर्किंग नोट 1, पीजीपी का वर्किंग नोट 2। सो अकॉर्डिंगली स्पेस का आपको देखना पड़ेगा फिर।
ओके मैम।
आपको ना ट्रीटमेंट भी कर रहे हो, फॉर एग्जांपल आपने कोई भी टैक्सेबल निकाले, तो पीजीबीपी का करते हैं हम सपोज, ठीक है, कुछ डिसअलाउंस अट्रैक्ट हो रही है, तो डिसअलाउंस किस लिए हो रही है वो रीजनिंग आपको लिखनी पड़ेगी, मतलब ऐसे करके लिखिए, सिंस द कैश पेमेंट्स एक्सीड्स 10,000 रुपीज सो इट इज डिसअलाउएबल, तो वो दिस पॉइंट ओनली यू हैव टू राइट इन योर आंसर, ठीक है।
ओके मैम, थैंक यू मैम।
एनी अदर क्वेरी?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
या अविचल प्लीज आस्क।
मैम लाइक इन जो टोटल इनकम का क्वेश्चन आता है 15 नंबर्स का, उसमें अगर जो जो नेट टोटल इनकम है और वो 20 लाख के ऊपर अभाव चली जाती है, तो उसमें अपन को एएमटी का कॉन्सेप्ट लगाना पड़ता है। बट क्वेश्चन के अंदर लाइक
3580 की है, 10A की डिडक्शंस है, प्रॉफिट लिंक डिडक्शंस तो आपके में नहीं है, ये अगर डिडक्शंस क्लेम कर रहा है तो आपको देखना है एएमडी लगेगा।
मतलब इट्स नॉट टोटल इनकम 20 लाख से अबव है तो इन एवरी केस देयर वुड बी इम्पैक्ट। 80 आरआरबी क्यूक्यू, तो अगर ये डिडक्शंस हैं देन ओनली एएमटी विल कम इनटू पिक्चर, अदरवाइज
टैक्स रिजाइन में एएमटी नहीं लगेगा।
हाँ, तो ऑल दिस थिंग्स वी हैव टू कीप इन माइंड।
ओके मैम। और मैम मेरे को एक और क्वेश्चन पूछना था, लाइक मैं अभी ये क्वेश्चंस कर रहा था टोटल इनकम के, उसके बीच में ऐसे कोई एग्जाम्पशन आते हैं। अब तो एग्जाम्पशन जैसे बाई चांस मेरे को कोई सेक्शन याद नहीं आ रहा, उसके अंदर मेरे को याद है कि इस सेक्शन में ऐसे एग्रीकल्चर इनकम में ऐसे एग्जाम्पशन मिलता है। मैं टोटल इनकम कैलकुलेट करते हुए ऐसे पीजीबीपी के इनकम के अंदर एग्रीकल्चर इनकम लिख रहा है, नीचे लिख रहा है एग्जाम्पशन अंडर सेक्शन 10(1) लिख रहा हूँ। अब एक और 10(1) याद नहीं आया तो अगर मैं वो नहीं लिखूंगा तो मैम मार्क्स कटेंगे उसके या फिर
नहीं, अगर आपने लिख दिया एग्जाम्प्ट, एग्रीकल्चर इनकम इज एग्जाम्प्ट, तो इट विल सफाइस। अगर आपको याद है तो डेफिनेटली इट ऐड वैल्यू टू योर आंसर, डोंट मत कोट करो। अगर नहीं याद आ रहा तो लिख दो कि एग्रीकल्चर इनकम इज एग्जाम्प्ट, बस।
ओके मैम,
ठीक है। सो एज अविचल इज आस्किंग 35 दैट आपका एएमटी का प्रोविजन, एएमटी का प्रोविजन आपको पता होगा, डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रेजाइम में एएमटी एप्लीकेबल नहीं है ना। So वही हम now we can start with those aspects, right?
So better ki we have to have a communication. We will just ask you some small questions, and whoever wants to answer, just raise your hand. So we will ask you to unmute, and then you can answer the question. So
yeah, and then now we can start with.
Ready, students?
Yes, ma'am.
हाँ, आपको पता है डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रेजाइम और कंसेशन टैक्स रेजाइम, राइट? और उसके डिफरेंट डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रेजाइम, what slabs, anybody can explain ki what is the slab rates for 115 BAC? Just raise your hands. Very basic question, this is a very basic question.
For computing tax liability, you all need to know your slab rates under the default as well as under the normal provisions.
If you are computing the tax liability as per the default tax regime, you have to compute as per the tax slabs given in the 115 BAC. तो what are those slab rates? Just एक थोड़ा सा brief. या पूजा.
पूजा,
मैम
yeah.
0 to 3 lakh मैम नील होता है, एंड 3 lakh to 6 lakh 5%, 6 lakh to 9 lakh 10%, 9 lakh to 12 lakh 15%, and 12 lakh to 15 lakh
Yeah, go on.
20%,
20%, and above 15 lakh 30%, मैम.
Very good.
So आपने देख के तो नहीं बोल रहे हो ना?
नहीं मैम.
Very good. So ये आपको याद रखना पड़ेगा. This you have to memorize basically, right? तो अब आपने you know the slab rates of transaction tax regime. Suppose a person is a senior citizen. ठीक है? If a person is senior citizen, so what would be his basic exemption limit if he is paying tax under the default tax regime? Avichal, you please answer this question. If suppose Mr. X is of the age of 62 years, right, and he is paying tax under the default tax regime, then what would be his basic exemption limit?
मैम 3 लाख ही रहेगी, क्योंकि ये डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रिजीम है, इसके अंदर सीनियर सिटीजन और सुपर सीनियर सिटीजन की भी टैक्स बेसिक एग्जाम्पशन लिमिट रुपीज 3 लाख की रहती है.
Very good. So it means कि in under section 115 BAC there's a fixed slab rate for whether as a senior citizen, whether it's below 60 years or as a super senior citizen. Similarly, it is not for resident or non-resident. For all the individual HUF, AOP, BOI or artificial judicial person, the slab rate will be the same whether they are resident or non-resident.
Yes, yes. So you know about the surcharge. The surcharge rates are different under the default tax regime and as per the normal provisions, right? You all are aware of it. So what is the highest rate of surcharge under the default tax regime? Who want to answer this question?
In the last question, I guess Aniket has raised his hand. So
Aniket, yeah. Aniket, you want to answer?
Ma'am, 37% is the highest rate of.
In default tax regime?
Yes.
Or under normal provisions?
Maximum is 25%.
I guess you have just reversed it, because normal provisions of the Act, the highest surcharge is 37% when your total income exceeds 5. Under the default regime, your highest surcharge rate is 25%.
The highest surcharge rate under the default tax regime is 25% when the total income exceeds 2 crores.
So there is no criteria of exceeding 5 crore.
Yes.
On exceeding 2 crore, the surcharge will be 25% for all income.
Whereas under the normal provisions, 2 crore to 5 crore, it is 25%, and 5 crore above, it is 37%. Right? So don't get confused between the both regimes. देखो ये इसकी टेस्टिंग आपकी कहाँ पे हो सकती है? MCQ based question में हो सकती है. They can test you this aspect in the MCQ based question also. तो आपको देखना होगा कि आंसर में क्या लिखा है, डिफॉल्ट टैक्स रिजाइम लिखा है, नॉर्मल प्रोविजंस लिखा है. अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू कंप्यूट द टैक्स लायबिलिटी, जो भी लिखा है आपका, ठीक है. सरचार्ज की रिक्वायरमेंट है, व्हाट विल बी द रिक्वायरमेंट ऑफ क्वेश्चन, अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू आंसर. And you know that this higher surcharge rate is not applicable on the tax computed on LTCG under section 112, LTCG taxable under section 112A, STCG short term capital gain under section 11A, and dividend income. ठीक है, तो इनका इनकम पे आपका हायर दैट इज 25% or under the normal provision 25 or 35% as the case may be are not applicable. ठीक है, so उनके लिए हायर सरचार्ज कितना मैक्सिमम जाएगा? What would be the higher surcharge in respect of those income, that is LTCG 112A, all LTCG in fact we can say any kind of LTCG it is, or STCG under section 11A, 111A, not normal provisions में compute किया हुआ, right? It has to keep in mind कि this LTS short term capital gain has to be computed under section 111A, वहीं पे higher surcharge नहीं है. And dividend income, तो उस केस में आप ये बताइए what would be the higher surcharge rate?
Yes, Pooja?
15%.
15%, ma'am.
Yes. Under both the regimes?
Yes, ma'am. Both
Yes,
the reasons,
ma'am.
15%.
Yes, ma'am, under both the regime.
Yes, very good. Now I am just bringing you this question. You just answer this question. This you almost be knowing. We have come out with an MCQ, right? Here, Dimple, you can.
Yeah. Here's a person, Mr. Ranjit. He has short-term capital gain of 95 lakh, which is chargeable to tax under 111A. Then LTCG of 110 lakhs, taxable under 112A, and the business income of 530 lakhs. So, which of the following statement is correct under the default tax regime? It is very important, student, to just keep in mind ki under which regime the person is paying the tax. So in this case, he is paying under default tax regime. So what would be your correct answer?
There are 4 options. The screen is visible to you, or do we read this 4 options for you? Yeah, Pooja, is it visible? Screen is visible to you?
Yes, ma'am. Now visible.
Just read options and answer which of the option statement is correct.
Mr. Ranjit is short-term capital gain of 95 lakhs.
And just these things will help you to revise the already what you have studied. Just revise.
Don't hesitate to answer.
Yeah.
This is just a platform given to you so that your confidence level can boost up. So you can revise your concept if any mistake you are doing. So don't worry for making any mistake at this point of time, because it's better to make a mistake at this point of time rather than making mistake in the examination. So don't hesitate. Just open up and just raise your hand to answer.
Who wants to answer this question? Aniket? Aniket,
you answer.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Which
option C.
Option
C.
C. Why?
Because in default tax regime, highest tax payable on surcharge is 25%, and in case of LTCG and short-term capital gain, the highest tax is 15%. Sorry, 15%. Hence, option C is correct.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
Mohan Sohib is asking option A. Mohan, why is option A? Here we are asking कि यहाँ पे business income है 530 lakhs की, right? And we have the other income 95 lakh plus 100 lakhs to LTC and the 111A income. तो उसके लिए higher surcharge कितना होगा? 15% होगा. Even though the income is exceeding 5 crores, but यहाँ पे default tax regime में जो आपका higher surcharge होगा 25% ही होगा. तो यहाँ पे 2 separate rates लगेंगे for the tax computed for the LTCG and STCG. On that, you have to compute the surcharge at the rate 15%. On the business income tax, जो भी compute किया आपने business income के respect में, on that portion you have to compute the surcharge at the rate 25%. Then you have to combine and add on the overall tax to compute the overall tax liability, right?
So in this MCQ, what would be your answer? Would your answer will undergo a change if it is he is paying under normal provision of the tax? Suppose statement which is returned, which of the following statement is correct under default tax regime? I'll just change this statement and under normal provision. Then what would be the correct answer?
Ma'am, option D will be the correct answer.
Option D.
Option D. Anyone, if they think no, A, B, or C will be the correct answer? Yes, option D. Option D would be the correct answer in this case, because highest rate of surcharge, that is 37%, would be applicable because business income, excluding all the other special income, exceeds 5 crore. And in respect of that special income of STCG, 111A, and LTCG and dividend income, whatever it is, maximum surcharge rate is 15% only.
Okay, I think Mohan, you are clear with these things. Why option A is not the correct option? I think you have understand. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Now let's move the concept of rebate. Rebate again is very, very important because it is different under the default tax regime as well as under the normal provisions. और यहाँ पे आपको क्वेश्चन में स्पेसिफिकली नहीं लिखा होगा कि रिबेट मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा. आपको उसके टोटल इनकम के अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू डिटरमाइन कि यहाँ पे रिबेट की इम्प्लीकेशंस आएंगी, ठीक है। तो आप में से दिस स्क्रीन इज आई थिंक इज विजिबल टू यू। सो रिबेट के केस में 115 BAC में द थ्रेशोल्ड लिमिट इज 7 लाख रुपीज, ठीक है। और यहाँ पे मैक्सिमम रिबेट इज 25,000, वेयर एज in the normal provision threshold limit is 5 lakh rupees and maximum rebate is 12,500, ठीक है। Marginal relief is available. This concept of marginal relief which was there in case of surcharge where the total income exceeds to marginally of 1 crore or whatever be the threshold limit. So marginally when your total income exceeds, then the concept of marginal relief comes into picture. But this concept they Finance Act 23 have brought in the rebate also, right? So marginal relief is available only where, but however this concept is available under the default tax regime only, this margin relief where the total income exceeds marginally to 7 lakh rupees, then this concept comes into picture, right? You have to provide for the margin relief. There is a procedure how to compute the margin relief. However, where you are computing the normal provisions, then the threshold limit is 5 lakh rupees. Agar aapka income, if your total income is just suppose 5 lakh 1,000, then also you have to pay the whole tax. No margin relief is available to you. One more important thing, this rebate is available to resident individual only. तो क्वेश्चन में सपोज एक MCQ में अगर नॉन रेजिडेंट लिखा है तो वहां पे मार्जिन रिलीफ नहीं, सॉरी रिबेट अंडर सेक्शन 87A नहीं मिलेगा, ठीक है। दिस इज वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट।
द पर्सन शुड बी रेजिडेंट एंड इंडिविजुअल ओनली,
ठीक है। फर्दर दिस rebate is not available in respect of LTCG under section 112A, ठीक है। HEC कब लगेगा आपको? रिबेट और जो भी सरचार्ज एवरीथिंग यू हैव टू कंप्यूट बिफोर हैंड, बिफोर आफ्टर एडिंग दिस हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन सेस। हेल्थ एंड एजुकेशन सेस सबसे लास्ट आएगा।
Suppose there is about surcharge or marginal relief under the surcharge also, then also firstly you have to provide surcharge, then you have to give the marginal relief, then or in case of rebate, rebate is there under 87A. Then after computing all these things, the final figure, then in that you have to add your HEC at the rate of 4%.
Don't get confused. Actually होता क्या है ना, when we start computing all these things, margin relief भी दिमाग में आ जाता है। तो आप क्या करते हो, टैक्स पेबल आपने सपोज 7 लाख पे कंप्यूट कर दिया, ठीक है। उसके बाद जो एक्सेस इनकम आई उस पे कंप्यूट किया, तो आपको क्या लगता है HEC भी डाल देते हो वहां पे। वहां नहीं डालना है, HEC सबसे लास्ट में आएगा। वो इट ऑलवेज वी गेट कंफ्यूज व्हाइल कंप्यूट दिस थिंग्स। तो ध्यान रखना HEC सबसे लास्ट में आएगा, निकाल दो, उसके बाद आप HEC को ऐड करोगे, ठीक है। नाउ लेट्स टेक एन example for it and you people are going to answer this MCQ, right?
So I'll just read the MCQ for you all. There's Miss Sabita. She is a resident who attained the age of 60 years on 1st April 2024 and she has a total income of rupees 7,25,000 which comprises of salary income and interest on fixed deposit, and you need to compute the tax liability of Miss Sabita under default tax regime under section 115 BAC. So take your time, student. Don't be in hurry. Compute the tax liability of Miss Sabita, considering all the points in your mind. Then just drive the answer, and after that just raise your hand if anyone wants to answer this question.
There are 4 options given. First is 28,600 would be her tax liability. B option is 26,000, C is 3,600, D is 2,600. Now you choose which is the correct option. We are giving you 1 minute time. जिसका हो जाए प्लीज रेज योर हैंड। अभी किसी ने सॉल्व नहीं किया? 1 मिनट हो गया आपका। अविचल, या अविचल यू आंसर।
मैम ऑप्शन डी 2600.
Just tell me the computation. I'll just write it here. How you
Ma'am,
arrived at 2600?
Ma'am, in this case, ma'am, total there are 3 steps. First, total income of 7,25,000 minus 7,25,000. Then total tax on 7,25,000. This will come 27,500. Hence, point, but the 27,500 is bigger than 25,000. So 27,500 minus 25,000. So tax rebate available 2,500. So 2,500 plus 4% health and education cess. So answer is 2,600.
Avichal, you are saying the debate is how much?
Rebate 2,500 available. Sorry, rebate.
You are saying rebate is
हाँ.
2,500, but you are reducing 25,000.
हाँ, why you are doing that?
So you are halfway correct, but
आपने ठीक कर रहे हो, but I think कुछ mistake कर रहे हो।
Yes.
so just have a look. Don't
Don't
panic.
be in hurry।
Okay, ma'am.
Who has joined with WRO? Please write your name. It's easy, you know, to take the name of the people, the students. Please, you can answer WRO and just tell your name. Please answer. Unmute yourself.
It's not rebate, it's a marginal relief with rebate. As the threshold of rebate increases from 7 lakh, the tax is increasing 2,500 more. And because if 25,000 was, if 7 lakh was the income, and then there was zero tax as per the rebate in 115 BSc. But as rebate threshold increased, then the tax was increased 27,500. So 2,500 is the marginal relief in rebate.
Okay, so according to you, what is the correct answer?
25,000 before cess, then 26,000 after cess.
26,000 is the correct. So, what's your name?
Vatsal Chandaran.
Vatsal. Okay. Vatsal, write your name actually. Along with this WRO, please write your name also.
Yes.
So anyone who has different answer? We have
No, ma'am. 6,000.
26,000. Avichal?
Yes, ma'am.
Have you reworked or you are driving the same answer 2,600 or something different?
No, ma'am. 26,000 is correct answer.
Yeah. Actually, you have done the right, but by mistake you have reduced 25,000. But under your in your mind you are knowing that 2,500 is the rebate, but you are reducing 25,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So don't make this type of mistake in your examination. So the correct answer in this case would be 26,000.
तो आपकी जो टैक्स लायबिलिटी है ना, इट कैन नॉट एक्सीड द 25,000 एक्चुअली। आप देखोगे ना, आपने 7 लाख पे कंप्यूट किया योर टैक्स लायबिलिटी, तो 25,000। अगर 7 लाख तक की इनकम होती तो यू आर नीड नॉट टू पे एनी टैक्स। ठीक है, जैसे ही आपकी इनकम 7 लाख क्रॉस करती है, तो अगर ये मार्जिनल रिलीफ नहीं देते तो आपको रिबेट नहीं मिलती, यू हैव टू पे होल टैक्स। तो मार्जिनल रिलीफ का कंसेप्ट क्या है कि अप टू दिस एक्सटेंट आपकी इनकम इतनी एक्सीड कर रही हो, आपकी टैक्स लायबिलिटी उससे ज्यादा एक्सीड नहीं करनी चाहिए बेसिकली। तो आपने जैसे 7,25,000 पे कंप्यूट किया तो आपका टैक्स बना 27,500, वेयर एज आपकी इनकम कितनी एक्सीड करी है? 25,000 एक्सीड करी है। तो मार्जिन रिलीफ कहता है कि आपका जितना इनकम है उतने ही आप टैक्स पे कर दो। तो एडिशनल जो भी आप टैक्स पे कर रहे हो, दैट इज 2,500 बेसिकली, वो मार्जिन रिलीफ मिल गया आपको एक तरीके से। तो उसका आपको नीड नॉट टू पे। ठीक है, तो आप टैक्स कितना पे पे करो 25,000, 25,000 आपका टैक्स लायबिलिटी बनी, आप उस पे आपने सेस लगा दिया, सो योर आंसर इज 26,000. ठीक है. नाउ दिस कंसेप्ट इज क्लियर टू यू, बट ये ध्यान रखना एग्जाम में ध्यान से कैलकुलेट करना कि आपकी इनकम क्या है. अगर 112 ए की है तो अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू कंप्यूट द इनकम. नॉर्मल प्रोविजंस के अकॉर्डिंग है तो मार्जिन रिलीफ नहीं मिलेगा. डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज कि यहाँ पे मार्जिन रिलीफ मिलेगा कि नहीं मिलेगा. ठीक है. वी हैव अनदर क्वेश्चन.
Another question. It is under normal provisions of the act. So suppose Miss Savita, resident, same again, she attained the age of 60 years on 1st April 2024, and her total income is 4,90,000, which comprises of salary income of rupees 3 lakh and long-term capital gain taxable under section 112 of rupees 1,90,000. So students, you are required to compute the tax liability of Miss Savita under normal provisions of the act. So just try to solve this question.
And ये मान लो आपका डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन होगा तो यू हैव टू शो ईच स्टेप. एक्चुअली अगर एमसीक्यू था, आपने फटाफट कैलकुलेशन किया, आपने टिक कर दिया क्वेश्चन. ये सपोज इट्स एन एमसीक्यू, इट्स एन डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन, तो यू हैव टू शो ऑल दिस स्टेप्स टू अराइव एट द टैक्स लायबिलिटी ऑफ सभी. यस, ठीक है. तो आप भी कैलकुलेट करो. अगेन गिविंग यू 1 मिनट. इट्स 41, 11:41. ठीक है. 11:42 पे जिसका भी जल्दी हो जाए आप रेज कर दीजिए हैंड. अभी चलिए, यू कैन लोअर डाउन योर हैंड. व्हेन यू डन देन यू प्लीज अगेन रेज योर हैंड.
Okay, Vatsal has raised his hand. So yes, Vatsal.
Yes, ma'am. As the 60 years age, the salary income will be exempt as basic exemption limit 3 lakh. On LTCG, it will be 20% rate, which comes at 38,000, and plus 20%, plus 4% cess will become 39,550.
It's 39,550.
5.
Okay. Pooja has also raised her.
Yes, ma'am. Same answer.
Same.
Ma'am, 39,520, not 50.
Yes, ma'am. 520.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone has having different answer?
Again read the question, or there is something you are not, catching. Avichal, you have different answer?
Ma'am, 26,520.
Yeah.
Ma'am, rebate under section 87A, 12,500 will be deducted because income of Mrs. Savita is less than 5 lakh.
Yes. So first of all, I just want to ask Pooja and Vatsal ki do you forget to give rebate under section 87A or purposefully you have not given the rebate?
Ma'am, as it is flat rate, special rate,
But 100 it is 112.
112, maybe there is a condition that the rebate cannot be, you cannot avail the rebate from the tax payable on LTCG under 112A, not in respect of 111A or 112. No such condition on these two incomes. So you can get the benefit of rebate from tax payable on LTCG under section 112 and short-term capital gain taxable under section 111A. So in this case, 38,000 your tax liability on long-term capital gain but you will get a rebate under section 87A, and the maximum rebate is how much for normal provisions of the act? It's 12,500. So from this 38,000 you will reduce 12,500 and your tax will be 25,500. Then you would add HEC, so it will come to 26,520. Got it, Pooja and Vatsal?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is about the surcharge, rebate. So are you finding them interesting to just revising these concepts?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let's
Yes, ma'am.
understand and just revise some of the provisions of residential status also. Because there are certain conditions, they are for determine the residential status, where the small things are really very important, which makes different आपका residential status आएगा अगर आपने गलत conditions apply कर दी, if you are just forgetting the one of the things. So just revise it, and we want to ask you with the certain situations what would be the residential status in that particular scenario. So let's take first of it. Here in the first situation, Mr. Sushant is an Indian citizen. This is visible. Screen is visible to you. Just I am.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Sushant is an Indian citizen. Okay, Indian citizen. These are important things. He is an Indian citizen. Left India for the first time during the previous year, 23-24, for the purpose of employment. Why he is living? He is living for the purpose of employment. He was in India during the previous year 23-24 for 181 days. Okay? Determine his residential status for the previous year 23-24. But what is his status? Simple situation.
हाँ.
कोई और पूजा, वत्सल और अविचल, अनिकेत, where you have gone?
Yes, ma'am, I'm there.
Yeah, you answer now. Sushant is an Indian citizen and he left India for the purpose of employment. Okay? And his stay in India during the previous year 23-24 is 181 days. Now determine his residential status. Aniket, you want to answer or?
Ma'am, 2 minutes. I'm just analyzing.
Yeah, okay, revise. Many other people are also there. Please participate and answer. If you are knowing, please answer. गलत भी बोलोगे तो भी कोई problem नहीं, but you have to, participate. Sushant is resident. From someone I have received this answer. He is a resident. Pooja, is he right? He is resident.
Ma'am, there is an exception to this because any person who stays in India for less than.
Who is answering? Aniket. Yeah, Aniket, you please.
Ma'am, there is one exception that any person who stays in India for less than 182 days is non-resident. But there is one exception that any person who goes out of India for employment, then also he will be considered as a resident.
He will be considered as?
Oh, sorry, non-resident.
Non-resident. Because he has not satisfied the condition of 182 days or more in India. Right? Yes. यहाँ पे आपके पास two basic conditions हैं. First is your 182 days or more in India. Then other 6 days during the previous year, and is there 365 days during the 4 immediately preceding previous years. Right? These are the two conditions. But जो आपकी 60 days वाली condition है and the 365 days वाली condition is not applicable for a person who leaves India for the purpose of employment or Indian citizen, right? Or Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who comes on a visit to India. ठीक है? तो वहां पे ये 60 days वाली, वहां पे 182 days वाली ही we have to see. ठीक है? Visit in India के लिए एक और condition है जो हम आगे later on we will discuss. But in this case, since he has left India for the purpose of employment, 182 days की है, so he would be non-resident. ठीक है, किसने आंसर किया था कि ये रेजिडेंट होगा?
Shoaib is also answered as resident.
हाँ, वाई सोहेब ही इज अ रेजिडेंट? इसने तो सेटिस्फाई नहीं करी 60 डेज वाली कंडीशन। 60 देखनी ही नहीं है, 182 डेज वाली कंडीशन, ही इज नॉट सेटिस्फाइड। ठीक है, अब जो आप कोई somebody is asking कि 120 डेज वाली किसके लिए देखते हैं, वो हम समझेंगे अभी अदर स्लाइड्स में। पहले हम एम्प्लॉयमेंट वाले एक फर्स्ट एक्सेप्शन को समझते हैं। ठीक है, लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस एक्सेप्शन, राइट? कि ये ही इज एन इंडियन सिटीजन, ही लेफ्ट फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, फर्स्ट टाइम फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट, वहां पे 182 डेज कंडीशन ही लगेगी। नाउ लेट्स रीड दिस सेकंड
Situation. In the similar situation, suppose Mr. Sushant is not an Indian citizen, but he is a person of Indian origin, and he was staying in India from since 2000. And so now in this year, in the previous year 2023-24, he left for the purpose of employment, and he left for the first time, and he stayed for 181 days only in the current previous year. So would your answer be the same as non-resident, which we have given in situation 1, or would it be different now? You have to see the different condition, or what the answer of this situation.
Hope you all understand the situation.
Ma'am, can I say?
Yeah.
Ma'am, it will depend upon his income from India. That is, there is one limit of 15 lakhs.
Sure.
If
Aniket,
he stay,
he is not coming back to India for visit. He is leaving India for the purpose of employment.
जो 15 lakh के है ना, which is on the person who comes on a visit to India, not a person who is living outside. ठीक है, पूजा, you answer.
Ma'am, as he is not an Indian citizen, he is a person of Indian origin. So, there are मतलब इसमें two both conditions are applied, ma'am. 60 days वाले भी और 182 days वाले भी. तो he is a resident because he lives in India for 181 days in previous year, and he was staying since 2000. So he has in India for last for previous year also 365 days. So he would be a resident in India.
Very good, Pooja. Avichal has answered, and we got some answers of non-resident. So just
resident and ordinary resident.
No, they have given the answer of non-resident. In this case, I'll just regarding, I'm not going abhi now for the visiting India part. I'm just give you a brief about the what are the two basic condition and the first exception to which the second basic condition would not be applicable. So I'm going to that to elaborate that part. The second comes to visit wala part, we will come with the on the later slide. So first, there are two types of basic condition which the assessee, which an individual has to fulfill to be a resident in India. What are the two conditions? First condition is he should be stay in India for at least or equal to 182 days or more in the relevant previous year. Okay. Second is or. It means either the individual can satisfy this condition, or the second one condition, he would be a resident. What is the second condition? Stay in India for 60 days or more in relevant previous year, plus it means he has to satisfy this both the condition to be a resident, 365 days or more in preceding 4 years. So if a person either satisfies this condition on standalone basis or these two cumulatively, then he would be a resident. But there are three exceptions to this. We are just dealing with the first two exceptions. What are the exceptions? First exception is applicable for an Indian citizen. keep in mind, student, the individual should be an Indian citizen, plus he must be leaving India for employment purpose. Then what would happen? In that case, this second condition would not be applicable. So what it means? It means he would be a resident only and only if he satisfies this 182 days or more condition. Then only he would be resident. But for that, the person should be Indian citizen plus leaving India for the purpose of employment. Like in our first situation, Sushant is an Indian citizen and he was leaving for the first time for the purpose of employment. So we have to see only 182 days wali condition, and he was not fulfilling that condition. So he become non-resident. But in the second situation, Mr. Sushant is not an Indian citizen. He is a person of Indian origin. So it means he is not falling under the exception. So it implies that if he satisfies either of these two conditions, he would be resident. First condition he is not satisfying because he is not staying for 182 days or more. But the second condition, what is the second condition? Second condition is that if he is staying in the current relevant previous year for 60 days or more, which he is complying, plus 365 days or more in the in the preceding previous year. Since he is residing in India, he is staying in India since 2000. So definitely in the preceding 4 years, he is staying for more than 365 days. So it means he is not satisfying the first condition, but he is satisfying the second condition. And that's why Mr. Sushant become resident in the second situation. So I hope the explanation for situation 2 is clear to all.
Yeah, Payonidhi, you also written that he is a non-resident. Now I think it's clear to you why he will be a resident. Because he is not falling into the exception which is there for the Indian citizen who left India for the purpose of employment. ठीक है, आप देखोगे why it is very important for a person to be resident or non-resident. आपकी रेजिडेंट की ग्लोबल इनकम टैक्स होती है, ठीक है, वहां पे आपकी टैक्स लायबिलिटी कोई भी इनकम होगी सारी टैक्स हो जाएगी. अगर वो पर्सन नॉन रेजिडेंट बन गया तो आप क्या करोगे? आप ट्राई करोगे कि मेरा 182 से कम हो जाए स्टे, एक दिन पहले मैं चला जाऊं इंडिया से तो मेरा टैक्स लायबिलिटी कम हो जाएगी. तो आप वही टैक्स प्लान करोगे इस तरीके से. तो दिस इज द एस्पेक्ट ऑफ टैक्स प्लानिंग. यस, ठीक है. आपका जाने का डेट होगा तो आपको लगेगा कि यार 182 में नहीं जाना चाहिए मुझे, कि मेरे पास 60 डेज वाली कंडीशन नहीं लगेगी. तो वहां पे आप सेव करोगे अगर आप इंडियन सिटीजन हो तो. तो दीज आर द वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग जो आपको ना लाइफ टाइम आगे भी बहुत
प्रैक्टिकलिटी इज
वेरी बेसिक थिंग्स, बट आपको आगे भी बहुत हेल्प करेगी. ठीक है, बहुत जरूरी है. दीज आर वेरी वेरी एसेंशियल थिंग्स बेसिकली. तो हमें क्यों जरूरत है रेजिडेंशियल स्टेटस को डिटरमाइन करने के लिए, वो आप समझोगे तो आप इसके एक एक कंडीशन को ध्यान से पढ़ोगे.
Your whole tax liability, your scope of total income depends upon your residential status. Because in the case of non-resident, or I would say RNOR के case में, your global income is not taxable, so your only selective income is taxable. So you have to see whether this income is taxable in India or not. So
whole tax liability depends on that. और आप देखोगे टैक्स रेट्स, रिबेट वगैरह, वो सब चीजें बहुत डिफरेंट भी है नॉन रेजिडेंट के लिए, नॉन रेजिडेंट के लिए. वो सारी चीजें कंबाइन करके यू विल डिटरमाइन द टैक्स लायबिलिटी ऑफ अ पर्सन. So these are very crucial aspects, right? Now moving to the another aspect that students are asking when this condition of 120 days or 15 lakh is applicable. ठीक है, वो समझते हैं. Now let's understand that thing.
Yeah. So student, in the visiting part, I have just given one exception. There is a second exception also. For that, we have not given the MCQ. But what is the second exception? Second exception is the same. The person should be Indian citizen and he should be a member of a Indian group. Then in this case, both the
same cheese.
Only 182 days condition would be applicable. 60 plus 365 would not be applicable. But in the third condition that is very much important regarding the person who is staying abroad and he is coming to India on a visit. Then in that case, your 125, your 15 lakh, everything will come into this condition. So
मेंबर ऑफ अ क्रू में भी इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि वहां पे आपका ना आपका आउटसाइड का पीरियड दैट डिस्चार्ज सर्टिफिकेट के अकॉर्डिंगली यू हैव टू कंप्यूट दिस
yeah,
स्टे
we have
इन
a
इंडिया.
separate rule for
उसका
that.
इलस्ट्रेशन भी उसमें बुक
Study
स्टडी
में.
में. प्लीज गो थ्रू दैट इलस्ट्रेशन व्हिच इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर अ पर्सन, क्योंकि मेंबर ऑफ अ क्रू में क्या करते हैं, वो आता है विजिट्स पे, यहाँ पे एक्चुअली शिप्स पे रहता है मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम ही इज ऑन अ शिप्स. तो आपको ना उसका आइडेंटिफाई करेंगे कैसे पीरियड कितना टाइम इंडिया में रहा, उसके लिए उसका डिस्चार्ज सर्टिफिकेट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. वहां पे उस कब उसने साइन इन किया कब उसने साइन ऑफ किया वो सारी डेट्स को एक्सक्लूड कर देंगे, यहाँ
Exclude
के
कर
period
देंगे
से.
for pre.
तो
हाँ.
अकॉर्डिंगली यू विल कंप्यूट. तो दैट इज अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर यू. ठीक है, तो अब विजिट्स पे बात करते हैं. विजिट्स के केस में क्या होता है?
So let's just firstly I'll just tell you the provision, then just try to solve the situation. So the third exception, what is the third exception? First condition, one by one, the person should be an Indian citizen, or in this case he can be a person of Indian origin. It means if the person is Indian origin, then also he will fall under this exception. Okay. So in this case, if the person is staying in abroad and comes on a visit in India, then say 60 plus 365 days condition would not be applicable, only 182 days condition would be applicable. But if this person, his income from Indian source, what is Indian source? That will go into detail. But income from Indian source exceeds rupees 50 lakhs, then the second basic condition, which was 60 plus 365, that would be modified and it would be 120 days plus 365 days. Got it, students? So it means we have to segregate into two categories. First, these condition would apply to both. The person should be Indian citizen, or he can be a person of Indian origin, and he should come on a visit in India. This is the thing. Then we have to divide. We have to see whether the income from Indian source is exceeding 15 lakh or not. If it is exceeding 15 lakh, then either 182 days or more in India, or 120 days in India during the current previous year, plus 365 days in the immediately preceding 4 previous year. If he satisfy any of the condition, he would be a resident in India. Or if the income from Indian source of the individual is not exceeding 15 lakh, then only and only 182 days condition would be applicable to him to be a resident in India. So this is the provision. I hope the provision is clear, because on this provision we have one situation and you student has to answer the situation. So if you have any doubt regarding the provision, so just let me know so that I can just clear your doubt for that. Yeah, Nagesh.
मैम गुड मॉर्निंग. सॉरी फॉर इंटरवेनिंग. मैम वो एलटीसीजी का जो आपने बताया अभी फर्स्ट सिचुएशन था एमसीक्यू, उसमें 1 लाख का हमने इफेक्ट नहीं दिया क्या?
Nagesh, it is for 112A, not 112.
ओके ओके
ठीक है ना?
ओके ओके सॉरी मैम.
Yeah. Any other doubt, student, regarding the third situation for
मैम इसमें मुझे ये डाउट है कि जैसे इसमें 120 डेज और 365 डेज है, तो वो पर्सन जो है वो रेजिडेंट होगा, रेजिडेंट बट नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट. लेकिन मैम अगर इसमें मान लो कंडीशन तो इसमें 120 डेज और 365 डेज वाली आ रही है, इसमें दूसरी कंडीशन भी होती है 182 डेज वाली.
हाँ.
दोनों कंडीशन एप्लीकेबल है. अगर पर्सन 182 डेज से ज्यादा भी रहा है और ये 120 वाली कंडीशन, दोनों कंडीशन सेटिस्फाई करता है, तो क्या तब भी वो मतलब नॉन रेजिडेंट रेजिडेंट बट नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट होगा, या फिर वो ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट, मतलब उसमें हम दोनों कंडीशन बाकी की देखेंगे या नहीं देखेंगे? इसमें थोड़ा डाउट है.
या पूजा, एक्चुअली इन दिस केस फर्स्ट अगर कोई पर्सन 182 डेज और मोर है तो आपको बाकी कंडीशन चेक करने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. why you go in detail कि उसकी इंडियन सोर्स की इनकम 15 लाख से ज्यादा है या नहीं है, वो लास्ट प्रीवियस ईयर्स में 365 डेज और रहा है या नहीं रहा. जब
तो मेरा क्वेश्चन इसके ऊपर नहीं है, ये है कि ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट है, नॉन ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट है,
I got your point. I got your point.
ये वाली कंडीशन तो हम तभी देखते हैं ना मैम जब मतलब वो 182 डेज वाली कंडीशन होती है. ये 120 डेज और 365 डेज वाली कंडीशन हो तो हम कह देते हैं कि वो पर्सन नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट है.
Yes, I am coming to your point. First of all, I am just saying कि अगर 182 days वाली condition है, so don't waste your time in the examination to check the other condition. I am just saying that. But in case, as you said, suppose a person is fulfilling both the condition, 182 days वाली condition, also 120 plus 365 days condition. अगर एक person is fulfilling this condition only, then he would be RNOR. But if he is fulfilling that condition also, 182 days wali condition, then he would not definitely be RNOR. You have to see the other two condition for being an ROR.
वो देखना पड़ेगा आपको.
वो आपको check करनी
डेज हो गया तो आपको देखना पड़ेगा. You have to check the additional conditions. ठीक है.
अगर वो इस वजह से रेजिडेंट हुआ है, then you don't need to check straight. He would be RNOR. But अगर वो 182 days से ज्यादा है, then you have to check the additional two condition for being an ROR.
ओके मैम.
ठीक है. I guess Avichal has already answered situation 3. Okay, I'll just read the situation 3. Mr. Sushant is a person of Indian origin. He is residing in Canada. During the previous year 2023-24, he visited India on several occasions, and his period of stay in total amounting to 129 days in previous year 2023-24. His period of stay in India during the last 4 preceding years, that is previous year 22-23, 21-22, 20-21 and 19-20, was 135, 115, 95 and 125. His income from Indian sources is rupees 17 lakh. So what would be his residential status? Abhishek, we will come to deemed resident provision also because they are related provision actually. So just after completing this situation, we will come to deemed resident concept.
So situation 3 में Mohad, so I've already answered that he would, if he stays in the relevant previous year 120 days or more and 365 days in the preceding 4 years. So yes, I think his income is exceeding 15 lakh rupees and he is satisfying the 120 days plus 665 days condition, so he is resident. But in this case, the person would by default RNOR. ठीक है. उसके लिए आपको ROR और RNOR की कंडीशंस में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. He by default he would be resident but not ordinary resident. ठीक है. यहाँ पे इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग बताओ क्या है कि यहाँ पे जो his income from Indian sources हमने यहाँ पे दी हुई है ना, it is total income. तो आप एक बार टोटल इनकम कंप्यूट करोगे इंडियन सोर्सेज से फॉर डिटरमाइनिंग दिस रेजिडेंट. व्हेन यू डिटरमाइन फॉर दिस पर्पस, फिर आपने डिटरमाइन किया ही बिकम अ रेजिडेंट एंड नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेजिडेंट. अगर क्वेश्चन इज आस्किंग यू टू कंप्यूट द टोटल इनकम अगेन, तो आपकी ये कंप्यूटेशन विल अगेन
अंडरगो
चेंज कि वो RNOR हो जाएगा. तो उसकी इनकम आप किस तरीके से करोगे? सिर्फ आपकी एक तरीके से इंडियन इनकम होगी, वो टैक्सेबल होगी, प्लस फ्रॉम बिजनेस सेटअप इन इंडिया और प्रोफेशन फ्रॉम द प्रोफेशन ऑफ बिजनेस सेटअप इन इंडिया से टैक्सेबल होगी. ठीक है. बाकी जो बाहर की इनकम होगी वो हम कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे. ठीक है. अकॉर्डिंगली वी विल कंप्यूट द टोटल इनकम इन दिस केस. ठीक है. सो मोहन, यू आर राइट एंड यू नो, बट यहाँ पे ध्यान रखना RNOR यू हैव टू राइट. बाय डिफॉल्ट ही वुड बी कंसिडर्ड एज RNOR. ठीक है. So let's move to the situation 4.
Situation 4 is the same situation. I guess only the change is there. In situation 3,
His
Sushant
income.
is okay. Income also, two things are there. First, in Sushant is an Indian origin, person of Indian origin, and in the fourth situation, he is a Indian citizen. But we have already seen
both.
For Indian citizen and person of Indian origin, both are there for the exception number 3 if they fall. So that would not make any difference for them. But what would make a difference In this case, his income from Indian sources is 14 lakhs. So now answer students, whether Mr. Sushant will be a resident or non-resident.
Ma'am, he will be non-resident.
Non-resident, because since income from Indian source is not exceeding 15 lakh, the second basic condition would not be applicable and he would be resident only and only if he is staying in India for 182 days or more during the relevant previous year.
तो यहाँ पे हमने इंडियन सिटीजन और पर्सन ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन, दीज आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. इवन आप जब डीम्ड रेजिडेंट निकालोगे तब भी, और एम्प्लॉयमेंट के लिए देखोगे तब भी. आप देखो पर्पस ऑफ एम्प्लॉयमेंट पे, इफ ए पर्सन इज लीव्स फॉर द पर्पस ऑफ, वहाँ पे सिर्फ इंडियन सिटीजन के लिए वो बेनिफिट दिया है, वो पर्सन ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन के लिए नहीं है. बट ही कम्स ऑन अ विजिट पे, व्हेन पर्सन कम्स देन ये आपको इंडियन सिटीजन के लिए, एंड दिस इज फॉर पर्सन ऑफ इंडियन ओरिजिन. डीम्ड रेजिडेंट केस में अगेन दे आर प्रोवाइडिंग फॉर ओनली इंडियन सिटीजन. ठीक है, तो ये आपको बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नाम से देखना होगा कि क्या लिखा है क्वेश्चन में.
So we have a fifth situation. It is more like of a fourth situation. The income is is 13 lakh, which is less than 15 lakh. Stay in India here is the period of stay is 100 days, and the period of stay for immediately preceding 4 years is already given. So I'll just brief the situation. Mr. Sushant is a Canadian citizen and he is residing in Canada. In the same year, previous year 23-24, he is visiting India total for 100 days, and during the previous 4 years, the number of stays are 135, 150, 95, 125. Indian source income is 13 lakh. So what would be his residential status?
He would be resident in India.
Okay. If anyone has a different answer?
नो मैम, रेसिडेंट भी है.
रेसिडेंट ही है. और
मोहन,
मैम रेसिडेंट ही है.
मोहन, सोहिद, you can also answer.
So all are saying resident. No one is saying non-resident. So all are correct. He would be resident because since he is a
resident.
Canadian citizen, so that he will not fall under the exception. So it means 182 days more or more condition, or 60 plus 365. If he satisfy either of the condition, he would be resident. And in this case, he is satisfying the second basic condition, which is 60 plus 365. So he is a resident. Very good, students. So now in the situation 6, we are dealing with the deemed resident provision. So suppose if a person becomes a non-resident under section 6.1, then we have to see 6.1a, whether the person is being a deemed resident or not. Please note, student, if he is becoming a resident as per section 6.1, then you don't need to apply 6.1a provision, or you don't need to check whether he's a deemed resident. When he is actually a resident, there is no meaning of deemed resident for him. So 6.1a comes when the person is not resident as per section 6.1. So if the person is, first condition for that, the person should be Indian citizen, individual definitely, Indian citizen, his income from Indian source is exceeding rupees 15 lakh, and he is not liable to tax in any other country due to his domicile, etc., then he would be resident. So what is most important, students, in deemed resident, then if the person is even not staying in India for a single day, then also he can become a deemed resident, because number of stay doesn't matter here. The person should be Indian citizen. He should have some Indian sources income. He has some business or something from India, and he is earning more than 15 lakh, and he is not liable to pay tax in some other country where there is no tax. Then he can be a deemed resident in India, and he has to pay tax in India. So in situation 6, Mr. Sushant is a citizen of country X, and he is residing in country X only. During the previous year 23-24, he visited India for 20 days. His income from Indian sources is 17 lakh and he is not liable to tax in country X. So what would be his residential status? So tell me, student.
Non-resident, ma'am. He would be non-resident.
Resident
Because
or non-resident, Pooja?
non-resident, because he is not a deemed resident. He is a citizen of country X, not an Indian citizen.
Yes, yes. The first basic condition that the person should be Indian citizen, he is not satisfied that condition. So it means deemed resident provision would not be applicable to Sushant. And we have to see by 6-1. The two condition, 182 days or 60 plus 365, he is not fulfilling any of the condition. So he is non-resident. Anyone has a doubt in this? Is it clear that Mr. Sushant is non-resident in situation 6 or anyone has a different opinion? I guess it is clear to all. So quickly we have two more situations. First, situation 7. Mr. Sushant is an Indian citizen. He is residing in country X. Same, everything is same. He is coming for 20 days only. His income from Indian source is 17 lakh. He is not liable to tax in country X. Yes, Avichal, he is a deemed resident. Situation 8. Sushant is a citizen of country X. Yes, Abhishek, for the situation 7, he is a deemed resident. Now we are moving to situation 8. Sushant is a citizen of country X, but a person of Indian origin. He is residing in country X. During the previous year, current previous year, he is staying for 20 days and his income from Indian sources is 17 lakh during the current previous year. He is not liable to tax in country X. So what would be his residential status? We got one answer from Avichal. Yes, Sahela?
Non-resident.
Non-resident. Because for visiting India, Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin, but deemed resident concept, only and only the person should be Indian citizen, then only deemed resident provision would be applicable to him. So in this case, Mr. Sushant is a non-resident.
Hope we have just revised the concept of residential status to you, and all the situations of an individual with the help of this we have explained the things, right? In case of any doubt relating to the other things also, you are welcoming. You can ask us right now, and also ask your portal pay. There's a facility where you can raise your queries relating to the subject, where you can post your queries and we will be answering there also. अभी आपका है, otherwise we can wind up the session, because the income tax act, if you go, then we can move after the residential status, we will move to the 5 heads of income. 5 heads of income, maybe again there are certain exemptions, deductions, the computation aspects are there. Those you have to be thorough with, and then you will move to the set of clubbing provisions, then set of provisions, then deductions under the chapter 6A. ठीक है, उसके बाद आपका टोटल इनकम आ गया, then your tax liability and all. So today we were able to explain the higher surcharge rate in the default regime, normal provisions and the rebate provisions, then along with the residential status things. ठीक है, section 9 is very important. अगर आपका scope of total income का question आता है, उसमें question is saying कि you have to determine the total income of a resident, ROR or RNOR or a non-resident. तो सेक्शन 9 बहुत बहुत जरूरी है. आपको ब्रीफली आपको जैसे बोला कि सब्सटेंशिएट करना है आपको आंसर्स को, तो जस्ट गो थ्रू दैट विच इज वेरी क्रूशियल. उसके काफी इलस्ट्रेशंस आपकी स्टडी में भी दिए हैं, दैट विल हेल्प यू टू अंडरस्टैंड एंड हाउ टू आंसर द क्वेश्चंस. वो करिए आप. अभी आपका देखेंगे आपके पास एमटीपी आ गया, एमटीपी आप यू डू द एमटीपी इन द एग्जामिनेशन कंडीशन, ठीक है। एलोकेट योर टाइम प्रॉपरली, जो आपका 3 hours + 15 minutes रीडिंग टाइम है, टेक दैट टाइम एंड ट्राई टू डू द मॉडल टेस्ट पेपर्स, ठीक है। अभी आपके पास बहुत टाइम है, अभी आप आराम से अपनी चीजों को दोबारा से रिवाइज कर सकते हो, प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो। एंड दिस पेपर इज रियली वेरी वेरी स्कोरिंग पेपर। आपने ठीक किया है, आप तो एमसीक्यूज की वजह से एक बिकम मोर स्कोरिंग, कि वहां पे आपको मार्क्स मिलेंगे तो फुल मिलेंगे या फिर 0 मिलेंगे, तो इसलिए आपको थोड़ा एक्स्ट्रा केयरफुल तो रहना ही है। लेकिन आपने अगर प्रेपरेशन प्रॉपरली करी है, आपने प्रोविजंस को अंडरस्टैंड किया प्रॉपरली, देन यू डेफिनेटली विल नॉट
lose your marks.
So anything you want to anything you want to ask us, then we can definitely.
Avichal has raised his hand. Yes, Avichal?
Ma'am, like in salary, rent-free accommodation amendments come on from 1st October. So ma'am, like in question अगर rent-free accommodation का question आता है, अगर from वो during the year वो बोलता है कि उसने rent-free accommodation करा है, तो मैम कैलकुलेट हमको हाफ से करना है या फिर पूरे साल के ऊपर हमको कहते हैं नए प्रोविजन से कैलकुलेट करना है?
नहीं, 1st September से applicable है ना अभी जब new rules, so the new rules will be applicable for 1st September only. So for the April to August, the old rules will be applicable. So you have to for that month according to the old rules, and from 1st September onwards as per the new rules.
Yeah, this effective date is really very important. एक्चुअली आप देखोगे यहाँ पे टीडीएस प्रोविजंस भी आते हैं, वो भी एक पर्टिकुलर डेट से आते हैं, तो उस टाइम पे आपको क्या रेट लगेगा उसके लिए,
डेट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट,
वेयर द टीडीएस इज एप्लीकेबल और नॉट, उससे पहले की ट्रांजेक्शन वहां पे नहीं लगी। प्रैक्टिकली ऑल्सो दे आर वेरी रिलेवेंट एक्चुअली, उसके बाद ही आपकी कंप्यूटेशन विल वेरी। तो आपका जो डेट आया उससे पहले के ओल्ड प्रोविजंस है, उसके बाद में न्यू प्रोविजंस है, राइट। सो दिस इज वेरी गुड क्वेश्चन एक्चुअली, यू शुड ऑल्सो नोट दैट कि आपको बहुत केयरफुली देखना है, स्पेसिफिकली टीडीएस प्रोविजंस में जनरली इट हैपेंस कि वो प्रोविजंस आपको मिड ऑफ द ईयर से आते हैं, तो वहां पे आपको यू हैव टू वेरी क्लियर, यू हैव टू मेमोराइज द थिंग्स कि क्या डेट है इसकी एप्लीकेबिलिटी की, ठीक है। और अमेंडमेंट स्टेशनरी अपडेट, do go through that statutory update that you have to read along with your study material, right? And then your RTP you can, because this is the same assessment is as already been informed ki same assessment, relevant assessment is same for the May 24 exams, September 24 exam and January 25 exams. So you are benefited, you can practice the RTPs which is available for May 24, September 24 और जनवरी के लिए आएगी। सो वेट फॉर दैट, बिकॉज अभी आपका सितंबर एग्जाम हैज टू हैपन नाउ, राइट नाउ, सो यू कैन प्रैक्टिस दोज थिंग्स, ठीक है। सॉल्व द क्वेश्चंस ऑन योर ओन, जैसे आपने यहाँ पे किया, पहले आप कुछ आंसर्स दे रहे थे, फिर आपको ध्यान आया कि नहीं आपने कुछ मिस कर दी, ठीक है, तो वैसे मिस्टेक्स नहीं रिपीट करनी है एग्जाम में। इसके लिए आप आरटीपी, उसमें इट इज बेस्ड ऑन लेटेस्ट अमेंडमेंट्स ऑल्सो, एक्चुअली आप देखोगे तो वो आपको आपको एक तो वो रिवाइज करेगा उस चीजें को, और वो आपके प्रैक्टिस भी कराएगा। तो आप सॉल्व करिए उनके क्वेश्चंस को विदाउट रेफरिंग देयर आंसर्स, ठीक है। आपने कर ली होगी, अभी अवेलेबल है, लेकिन फिर भी कहूंगी अगेन डू इट, ठीक है, विदाउट सीइंग देयर आंसर्स। जब आपने कर लिया देन अगेन मैच योर आंसर्स विद द आंसर्स गिवन इन द आरटीपी। इस तरीके से आप करोगे अपना एक प्रोसेसर, तो आपका कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल भी बूस्ट अप होगा, प्लस आपका टाइम मैनेजमेंट ड्यूरिंग द एग्जामिनेशन विल आल्सो बिकम मोर इफेक्टिव। इफेक्टिवली यूटिलाइज योर टाइम, थोड़ा सा टाइम रखिएगा, दोबारा से अपनी चीजों को रिविजिट कर सको, रिविजिट करना इज वेरी नेसेसरी, ठीक है। एक बार इतना टाइम रखे कर सको। बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि पहला जो क्वेश्चन बहुत अच्छे से आता है उसको पहले अटेम्प्ट करना है। ऐसा जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको फर्स्ट कंपलसरी क्वेश्चन है तो सबसे पहले आप कंपलसरी क्वेश्चन करोगे, इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी। आपको लगता है कि मेरे को एमसीक्यू सेक्शन पहले करना चाहिए, तो आप पहले एमसीक्यू सेक्शन अटेम्प्ट कर लो, लेकिन टाइम मैनेजमेंट रखो कि मेरे कितने मार्क्स के एमसीक्यू, 15 मार्क्स के एमसीक्यू हार्डली, तो अकॉर्डिंगली आपका 3 घंटे का टाइम डिवाइड करके रखना है एमसीक्यू क्वेश्चन में, ठीक है। फिर आपका डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन में मुझे कितना टाइम देना है, वो आपका आप चूज कर लो कि मुझे कौन सा क्वेश्चन पहले करना है, उस तरीके से करिए। बट मेक श्योर कि जो एक क्वेश्चन के जो डिफरेंट सेक्शंस हैं, डिफरेंट पार्ट्स हैं, वो अलग अलग जाके नहीं करना है। फॉर एग्जांपल क्वेश्चन 2 के 2 पार्ट में आ रहा है, क्वेश्चन 2A B C में आ रहा है, तो ऐसा नहीं कि 2 का A इधर कर दिया तो 3rd के बाद B किया, डोंट डू दैट। अगर वो आपको बी पार्ट नहीं आ रहा, थोड़ी सी स्पेस छोड़ दो, वट एवर यू फील कि ये स्पेस में छोड़ सकता हूँ, दैट स्पेस यू लीव, देन आपका 3rd कर लिया अदर क्वेश्चंस के लिए, अगेन ट्राई टू डू एन अटेम्प्ट इट, एंड अगर नहीं है तो उसको बाद में काट दो, जस्ट क्रॉस इट दैट स्पेस। ठीक है, वो इस तरीके से यू शुड अटेम्प्ट योर पेपर। ठीक है, पेपर देख के परेशान नहीं होना एकदम से कि नहीं ये नहीं आता, वो आपको जैसे आप स्टार्ट करते हो ना तो आपको स्टार्ट हो जाता है आना, मेमोराइज होने लगती हैं चीजें। तो बी कॉन्फिडेंट, टेक केयर ऑफ योर हेल्थ, फर्स्ट हेल्थ इज वेरी नेसेसरी। ठीक है, बी मोटिवेटेड, है ना, इसमें बहुत जरूरी होता है, बिकॉज इज डिस्टेंस लर्निंग, हो सके पॉसिबल हो तो आप स्टडी ग्रुप स्टडी करो जितना हो सके। अगर नहीं भी हो रहा है तो आप थोड़ा सा टाइम निकालो अपने हर चीज के लिए, थोड़ा म्यूजिक सुनो, थोड़ा सा मेडिटेशन करो, डू दैट। ओके, कीप योर गुड, आपको हेल्थ ध्यान रखनी है, साथ में अपना पढ़ाई तो करनी है, देयर इज नो ऑप्शन फॉर द स्टडी, राइट, यू हैव टू डू योर स्टडी, एंड डेफिनेटली यू पीपल आर participative that much, then definitely you can do and achieve the good results. Hope, I think we can wind up the session. In case you have anything, we are just waiting for one more minute, otherwise we will wind up the session. Nagesh, you want to ask something?
Ma'am, I sincerely want to thank the BoS team for encouraging the students, giving so much resources to us, give us so much attention to us for doing
so much. Actually, we need
for success.
students to join in more numbers, since we have now started with this Zoom link also to the student to make it two-way communication, so that we can also understand what are the problems you are facing actually, where are the areas you need our support. So we are here to help you every time. So please, you also ask to the other students whom you are connecting with, this is a good platform. We are providing LVCs, we are having the revision classes, we are having so many things, we have a good publication resources are there. So do practice all those things, try to
try to use the resources
whatever we are providing. We will be very scoring the good marks, because we are here to help you
only.
So thank you, Nagesh, for your such wonderful words. Vatsal, you want to ask something?
Yes, welcome.
Yes, one doubt arises, which is in Rule 8 of agricultural income.
Okay.
Where it is written that assessee himself grows tea leaves and manufactures tea. But it may have the case that assessee as a farmland and appoints a farmer, a laborer farmer. So in that case, if the both will be both will be मतलब एक ही गिनेंगे कि अलग गिनेंगे?
वो होगा एक्चुअली, आप देखोगे ना, इंटेंट ये नहीं है, अगर एसएससी ओन कर रहा है कोई लैंड, अगर मतलब बहुत हेक्टेयर में एसएससी के पास लैंड है, तो ही हैज टू यूज दैट लेबर
practically.
Only then he can do the farming. He himself cannot do so much of land farming by his own self, right? ये तो don't go that by that word. It's an intent of the law is कि वो खुद ही करेगा, मतलब उसका जो अर्निंग्स होंगी वो उसके खुद की हैं, ऐसा नहीं उसने लैंड किसी को रेंट पे दे दी फिर वो रेंटल इनकम उसके पास आ रही है, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए। तो एग्रीकल्चर इनकम तभी होगी जब वो इनकम खुद दूसरे लेबर का तो यूज डेफिनेटली ही हैज टू डू, बिकॉज ही कैन नॉट डू हिमसेल्फ सो मच ऑफ लैंड। बहुत ज्यादा लैंड होती है जनरली, अगर आपके पास बहुत इनकम है तो होता है, आप यू टेक दी हेल्प ऑफ अदर रिसोर्सेज, मैनुअल रिसोर्सेज लेते हो आप, मैकेनिकल रिसोर्सेज यूटिलाइज टू डू द फार्मिंग। सो दैट इज नॉट द क्राइटेरिया कि आपका ओन है तो वो खुद ही फार्मिंग करेगा। नो, ही विल डेफिनेटली टेक द यूज ऑफ रिसोर्सेज। ठीक है,
ओके,
या in case you have any query, please you can write to us now. Dimple,
Yes, I think we should just wind up the session. If you have any other query on your mobile app, there is an option of ask your query, or you can mail us at dt-inter@ici.in. We are always here to help you students. So if you call us at our landline number, or your ask your query, or mail us, we will reply to your query. So just try to use the resources of the BoS as much as you can. This LVC, BoS for Success,
webinars, we are conducting so many things actually. Now again next session would be there today for your indirect taxes.
Yes.
Right? So GST pe hai, wo do attend that session also.
Yeah, that will be at 2 o'clock. So just take rest, and 2 o'clock be available for that session also. They are very useful session. You can ask your query, your doubt. They will motivate you. They will tell you the strategies, how to prepare for exam, how to write in the examination, all these things.
Yeah.
Abhishek, in future, how query be solved? Matlab, in future, there is a mobile app. There's an option of ask me query. So in that, if you choose your paper 3A, then your query will directly reach to us, or in from your BoS Knowledge website also. We have one mail ID dt-inter@ici.in, and the landline number also it's available on the website. So you can reach to us in any manner, and we will be happy to help you.
Yeah.
To resolve
Mohad,
your
you
query.
can also this 44AB relation query, whatever you are query on that portal. And this is again very important कि BoS knowledge portal पे do visit that portal,
Yes, for the
register
regular updates,
yourself.
yes.
वहीं पे आपको MCQ dashboard भी है. ठीक है, to practice the case scenarios and MCQs, you have to visit and do the MCQ practice from that dashboard. ठीक है, other than the RTP, MTP and these things, you can practice the MCQs and case scenarios from the MCQ dashboard, right?
Yes, students. So we just wind up the session. So all the best,
all the very best
for your examination.
September exam. January के लिए you have sufficient time. You can do the practice again.
And for that, we will be meeting you again for January. So for the September examination, just all the best to all the students.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.